Welcome all. This is an instructional video on how to use GUI Menu 2. You have to select the path for your GUI. That's usually in your game menu or your game directory. And let's see, put mine here. There we go. Notice it's an absolute path. The next is the resources path. Find where you put your GUI media. It doesn't have to be called GUI media, but that's what I call it. Notice it's a relative path. The next thing you need to do is put in the GUI name. I like to call it with an extension MNU for menu. It can be anything you want, but that's what I choose. Create. The first thing you need to do when you create your GUI is you need groups. Groups are what you use to organize your buttons and drop downs and text boxes and whatnot. It's what you put all your menu items on. So I'm just going to call this one first group and create. When you create it, it appears up here and it's kind of small, so you can scale it to whatever size you want, and now we have something we can work with. Next thing you need to do is put something on the group. This drop down has a list of the different menu item types. System menu does not have any functionality. I haven't found any games that use a system menu that I would play, so I just didn't put the functionality in there. If you want to put it in there, you can put it in there. I have some prototypes in the header file, but let's just create a button, and let's put the caption for the button as button 1, and we can call it main button 1 because it's the first button on the main menu or the main group. You can call it whatever you like, but if you ever want to identify the different menu items, you need to make this name unique. This can be anything. You can put button 1 on everything, but this has to be unique, or you're only going to get the first one with that ID whenever you try to access it. So create, and it created a button right in the upper left hand corner. I can move it anywhere on the screen. I can scale it, and let's create another one. How about a radio? Radios are like buttons, except that when they get pushed, they don't toggle up. And we'll call this one main radio. Whoops, I like to capitalize my stuff. Main radio 1, create. Notice it has a checkbox beside it. And same as the button, I can move around, I can scale it, whatever. So let's remove these from the group. You can also delete the menu items as well, but that's not necessary right now. This is a you can add an existing menu item. Say I wanted that main button back. There it is. So let's remove it again because I don't really want that one. I want to show you a tab menu. Tab menus are kind of unique in that the caption is actually a function. Oops. The and is my delineator between the different tabs. And you could create all the tabs like this all at once, or you can create them later after you create the tab menu. So we're just going to call this one tab menu 1 as my ID. I'm going to create it. And notice my two tabs are there. Move it around, I can scale it however you like. Down here, if I wanted to create a new tab, let's call it tab 3, I can add it to the end, or I can insert it before the selected tab, and I can also delete whatever selected tab I have. So I'm just going to insert it or add it to the end, and there we go. I got my 3 tabs. Now, tab menus, each tab has the ability to bring up a group. A tab menu or a tab by itself is no good without a group. Do not select the group that the tab menu is on as a group to bring up for that tab. You'll have an endless loop of nothing but down. Try it if you think it's going to be funny. Alright. Make another group called GUI2. And whoops. Move it over here. And scale that a little bit. We don't have to scale it a lot because I'm going to show you something. Go back to the first group. Select the tab menu. Select the tab that you want to put it on. Click on that. Notice the group is still the same size. Size group to tab. There. Now it is the exact same size as the tab. So now we're gonna put menu items on this group. Let's create a button. You know what? Let's just add it to this group. And I'll put it down here. And I'm going to create a tab menu here. Oops. A tab menu. There we go. And let's scale it, and I'll add you can make these names anything you like. It's not a big deal. Let's go back to the first group, and now you have a tab menu inside a tab menu. And these tabs don't do anything. And then if you wanted to, you could create a new group and put it within this, and you could have an infinite loop of tabs if you wish. There's a few other things I want to show you. Let's make a new group. 2, 3. Okay, here's our new group. Move it here, and we will scale it so we can look at it. And with this one, I'm going to show you some text boxes. There are different types, 3 different types of text boxes. There's the list, there's the drop down, which is one of these, and then there's the text box. A text box does not take a caption, so if you put something in there, it'll be useless. Text box 1, create. Let's move it here and scale it. Don't remember if I told you this, but this scales the particular text box to the font size, so the font would fit in there correctly. Now, text box is not very useful in multi-line in a game, but I put the functionality there anyway. Notice it has a little scroll bar down there. And if you type in enough, you get a scroll bar here. You scroll up and down. The next thing is, well, no, hold on. Let me show you something with this. Single line. Single lines are useful for inputting character names and whatnot. And once again, you get the scroll bar. All you have to do is select the single line. Next thing I'm going to show you is the list. And a list is just what you think it is. It's a list. Create, move it, and scale it, just the size. And you can put in anything you like into this by add text, insert a cursor, whatnot. Delete it, cursor, insert. And this has the same scroll bar functionality as a text box. Now for the drop down. Drop down one. And there's my drop down. Notice it didn't move down, but when you go to scale it like that, you can pull it down and then adjust the text box size. And these will go over previous menu items. So if I had it up here and then I did a drop down, it would go over whatever I put in there before it in the list. If you ever screw up the order that you want, you can always remove it from the list, and then you can add something that's already been inputted into the system. Statics are very useful. They're basically labels. You do not have to, well, you don't have to put an ID on anything if you don't want to, but if you ever want to reference it in your game, you're going to have a unique ID for it. But statics are not usually accessed. They're not usually referenced in your game. So you can create a static, and once again you can move it and scale it to whatever you like. Alright, I believe this concludes the video. I hope this informed you on how to use this. Thank you for your time.